guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, it is Sunday, May 19th, and it is 10:19 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm sorry I'm getting a little bit of a late start tonight, but just as I was beginning to record, I got a phone call, and I'm glad that I took the call because it was good information that I needed. Anyway, there are no new Q posts for today, but as always, there is lots of Q-related news, so that is what we're going to get into. And let's go over there now and see what trouble we can get into. Thank you so much, you guys that have bought me coffee over the last few days, and one person adjusted their pledge on Patreon, and I just want to let you know that I really appreciate it. It means more than you know, and it helps me to continue to do what I do. So there you go, and we're going to get into the news. So let's just get at it. It's not in any particular order, but let's look at it one at a time. All right, this from Janine Perot, and let's just take this back, and there we go.
Into the night, and 'twill be a joy to watch. Grab your popcorn, junior mints, or whatever makes you happy. The real show is about to begin. This will be true reality TV. No scripts, no rehearsals, just a gang of criminals pointing fingers at each other to save their own hides. A version of true crime and the reality show Survivor. The deep state exposed. Now, I told you more than a year ago, former FBI Director James Comey was the head of his own crime family and that he ran the upper echelon of the FBI like an organized criminal enterprise. That was limited to the upper echelon. The rank and file wouldn't have tolerated this. Even Bill Barr questioned it.
Oh, great.
The thing that's interesting about this is that this was handled at a very senior level of these departments. It wasn't handled in the ordinary way that investigations or counterintelligence activities are conducted. It was sort of an ad hoc small group, and most of these people are no longer with the FBI or the CIA or the other agencies involved.
For the last 2 years, he and his gang of McCabe and Strzok and Baker and Page, Brennan and Clapper all riffed on how horrible President Trump was, calling him treasonous, a Russian puppet, or a Russian asset. They got away with it primarily because the mainstream media was receptive to their hateful narrative. After all, these were men in high positions in our government protecting us from Russia, and they needed to be respected. When truth be told, they were selling our democracy down the river. They were skilled at their jobs, leaking information to the media to get news stories to not only poison public opinion, but to create the basis to support a bloodless coup of a candidate and later President Donald Trump. Now, like any criminal conspiracy, the players are arrogant and they think they're above the law. But mistakes are always made. Comey tells the president-elect the dossier is unverified. He presents it to the FISA court, though, as verified when he knew the truth long before. It was unverified, and it was a political document, not an intelligence document. But he used it to spy on a presidential campaign. Yeah, I used the word spy. Deal with it. Andrew McCabe, former deputy director of the FBI, is under criminal investigation. He claims he's a victim in all of this and that his firing is a result of attacks designed to undermine him. As if anyone cares about Andrew McCabe. McCabe lies.
I'm just going to pause it for a second because here is Sammie wanting to get in on the on camera, and it's not often, but I think I might just get him on camera. Let me go back to here to see if you can see him. Yes, you can. Here is Sammie. He is quite the handful. All right, let's go back. Now, I know you're probably wondering why I'm playing all this, but it's very good information. And the fact that this is going out across a major news network floors me, because this is as real as it gets. And she encapsulates the whole thing very accurately. So let me continue here.
Is not only to the FBI, but to the Inspector General under oath. He's another leaker. It's no surprise that Attorney General Barr says he's still trying to get his arms around all of this.
I thought when I came in from the outside that all the questions that I had and many other people had that would be readily answered once I got in, but I haven't found that to be the case.
And the problem is, it's going to be even more difficult because they are already pointing the finger and contradicting each other. Comey says the guy he most admires in government is James Clapper, another liar and leaker. This bozo, like you, Jim, flatly denied leaking the dossier. He even released a statement that assured the incoming president that neither he nor anyone in the intel community was responsible for the leak. Meanwhile, Clapper told Comey to tell the president about the dossier, and yet when he appeared before a congressional committee, he flatly denies leaking the dossier, but later...
That is Sammie's tale going back and forth. He is, no. And now, of course, he's trying to chew on my wires. I'm telling you, this cat is too much. And I'm sorry that he is interrupting us here. But, you know, cats do what cats do, I guess. So anyway, let's get back into this because it's very good information. And I wish that Sammie would get down. Because I don't want to have to restart this video. And Sammie, what are you doing? Yeah, there he goes. Get down. All right. Now, I got to just check to make sure he's not chewing the wires. This is what I deal with every night. I try to keep him occupied. I feed him and give him water before the show, give him treats so that but, you know, I guess he's wanting to be on camera tonight. I don't know. He's a good looking boy. What can I say? Anyway, let's continue on here. I apologize. The camera's probably shaking because, Sammie is trying to groom himself on the little light stand there. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's just listen to a few more minutes of this and then I'm going to go on. Again, I apologize for the cat, but that's what you get on this channel. You know, this is a channel that loves cats. What can I say? All right. Well, now he's laying down, so we should be safe to go. As long as he doesn't chew any of my cords.
He admits he told CNN and other news outlets about it.
What I will say is that, I've been trying to get answers to questions, and I found that a lot of the answers have been inadequate. And I've also found that some of the explanations I've gotten don't hang together. So in a sense, I have more questions today than I did when I first started.
Of course the answers are inadequate. They're all rewriting history, pointing the finger at each other to save their own butts. Comey is now trashing Rod Rosenstein, saying Rosenstein didn't have anywhere near the inner strength to stand up to Donald Trump. I knew he didn't. Rosenstein then goes back at Comey and says, I will not sit here and listen to James Comey analyze my character. I'm not going to put up with it. So, Brennan and Comey are now accusing each other of being a liar and being the first to put the fake document into the intelligence community. They're actually fighting with each other, too. Now, Brennan was the head of the of the CIA. He says the recent review of their actions is crazy. It's nothing more than a fishing expedition. Have you noticed that John Brennan, always uses the excuse, I had bad intelligence? This guy was the head of the CIA. It's called the Central Intelligence Agency for a reason. Focus on intelligence. maybe Brennan and Comey, who are accusing each other, are both right. They are both lying. And the amazing part of all this is that there's no more denying the existence of a deep state. Instead, they're saying, hey, it wasn't me. Now, James Baker, the former FBI top lawyer accused of illegally leaking to authorities, actually goes on the Skullduggery podcast, and he points the finger at Comey, saying folks in the FBI worried that Comey was trying to blackmail Trump a la J. Edgar Hoover style, but that he's confident he did nothing wrong, although mistakes will certainly be found. Here's the bottom line, folks. This finger pointing is not happening between lawyers in private rooms. It's happening in the public square for all to see. They know that Bill Barr is a serious prosecutor who has appointed another serious prosecutor, John Durham, to review the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation. And try as the New York Times will, this is not an inquiry. For John Durham, the United States attorney charged with reviewing the genesis of the Trump-Russia collusion investigation, indictments are his stock in trade. He is looking into the CIA's role and the FBI's role, which will inevitably lead him to the roles of Susan Rice, Samantha Power, and good old Loretta Lynch, all compromised by their political agenda to destroy Donald Trump and to hell with America. Now, I told you last week that Bill Barr was a cool cat, but while the Democrats hyperventilate and hysterically accuse him of everything they can think of and hold him in contempt, Barr remains lucid, focused, and unflappable. He further explained that the histrionics of the left is actually laughable.
I think it's largely being made to try to discredit me, partly because they may be concerned about the outcome of a review of what happened during the election. But obviously, you can look at the face of my testimony and see on its face that there's nothing inaccurate about it.
Now, at the beginning of this open, I may have made light of all of this, but I don't relish what is happening. Rats like these who use and abuse the enormous power that we give them are an embarrassment to all the hardworking men and women in the law enforcement and intelligence communities. But the biggest disappointment is yet to come, when the guy who has been so deadly silent on all of this will be the one that all the rats eventually point their dirty fingers at.
Now, I know that I don't usually do that. I don't usually play a video that long, and there's good reason for that, because nobody wants to watch a video of watching a video. So, but I felt that this was very important because I have never heard such a good summation of everything that's going on, and I love Jeanine Pirro. I love her. I think she is awesome. Well, now I have heard, and I'm not going to claim that, you know, the person that I got this from is, they have good information and they are usually right. They have said that Brennan has been arrested. Now, that's not in the news. I haven't heard anything from any of the Q community at all in that regard, but that is the intelligence that I received. Now, again, am I going to stand behind that and say, oh, 100%? No, I'm not. I'm going to say that I got it from a generally reliable source. And that is what I have been told. Now, they also believe that Clapper and Comey are going down, hopefully next week, but they're all going down. They definitely are all going down. So I know we've all been holding our breath for so long that we've turned blue by now. But really, there are things happening behind the scenes. We know that. We know that things are happening behind the scenes, because we would never have heard something like this broadcast on mainstream media in the past. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't have been. So I think that this is progress, and people are beginning to wake up. Even some of the people that are out there that had no idea about any of this going on are starting to wake up. So this is good news as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's go back here. Let's go back to the news here. And again, I apologize for my cat. He was just, while that was playing, he was around, he was trying to get into the courts, he was shaking the table, he was, doing everything that he possibly could. His tail was before the camera, so I do apologize for that, but I didn't want to have to, because of the late time, I didn't want to have to go back and start recording all over again. I hope you understand why. Now, let's get to this one. And of course, this is little Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff on edge as Barr vows to get to the bottom of Russia probe. And you know something? If anybody's going to get to the bottom of it, it's going to be Bill Barr. No question about that. He is the right man for the job. Now, Representative Adam Schiff slammed Attorney General William Barr for Barr's new probe into the origins of the shady Russia-Trump collusion investigation Friday, saying the top DOJ official was engaged in Trumpification of the Department of Justice. Barr said Trump's campaign was spied upon. Trump claims treason. Both are incendiary. Neither is true. Barr suggests a finger was put on the scale to affect the election, but the Trump probe was kept secret. The Clinton one wasn't. It's the Trumpification of the DOJ, posted Schiff on social media. If I had one word of advice to give to Adam Schiff, it would be get the heck off of social media, because you're making your situation a heck of a lot worse. Really. He has no business on social media. Neither does Comey. Both are making their situation worse than it already is, if that's possible. And this is the tweet that he put out, which we just read. Schiff's comments come days after the chair of the House Intelligence Committee called for Barr's resignation after he refused to speak with congressional Democrats regarding Robert Mueller's no collusion report. Schiff published a scathing op-ed in USA Today last Friday, directly accusing Barr of misleading the country after he declined to indict President Trump of obstructing justice. Again, how do you obstruct justice when there's no crime? You can't. You can't obstruct justice if there wasn't a crime committed. Unbelievable. Anyway, William Barr should resign, writes Schiff. The public servants there and in similar offices around the country deserve an attorney general who shares their abiding commitment to the rule of law, demonstrates strength and independence, speaks truth to power, and represents no one person but all Americans. That makes Bill Barr the second most dangerous man in the country. It also renders him grossly unfit for office, he adds. Well, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, really, if anyone is unfit for office, it is Adam Schiff. And wait until everything comes out, like, the standard hotel stuff and all the other stuff that he's into, like little, what is that? Little kids something, yeah, he's like, he's past his neck. I was going to say he's neck deep. No, he's past his eyes by now. He's all in. He's done for. All right, that makes Bill Barr the second most dangerous man in the country. Representative Adam Schiff continued to double down on his baseless accusations of Russia-Trump collusion hours later, accusing Attorney General William Barr of simply doing the president's biting. When you hear the Attorney General say he wants to look into what he calls spying into the president's campaign, what's your first reaction? Asked a reporter with ABC News. It's stunning to hear the top law enforcement officer in the country talk so cavalierly about spying on a political campaign. This must be very pleasing for Donald Trump, who wants to create a narrative that he's the victim of some deep state coup, said Schiff. He is the victim of a deep state coup, Schiff. The Attorney General has a higher responsibility than simply doing the bidding of the President of the United States, he added. Read Schiff's full op-ed here. No, thank you. I'd rather have my eyes dug out with spoons. Just saying. All right, let's see what other trouble we can get into here. And this from Donald J. Trump. For all the fake news Sunday political shows whose bias and dishonesty is greater than ever seen in our country before, please inform your viewers that our economy is setting records with more people employed today than at any time in U.S. history. Our military, which, I bet you I didn't continue on. I thought I did, but I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't get the second tweet. All right, let's go on. I can own my mistakes. I can own them and overcome. All right. This from the New York Post. China's new social credit system is a dystopian nightmare. Oh, that's an understatement. Imagine calling a friend, only instead of hearing a ringtone, you hear a police siren and then a voice intoning, "Be careful in your dealings with this person." Would that put a damper on your relationship? It's supposed to. Welcome to life in China's social credit system, where a low score can ruin your life in more ways than one. Say you arrive at Beijing Airport intended to catch a flight to Canton, 1,200 miles south. The clerk at the ticket counter turns you away because, you guessed it, your social credit is too low. Not only are you publicly humiliated in the ticket line, you are then forced to travel by slow train. What should have been a 3-hour flight becomes a 30-hour stop and go nightmare. All because the government has declared you untrustworthy. Perhaps you defaulted on a loan, made the mistake of criticizing some government policy online, or just spent too much time playing video games on the internet. That's right, playing too much video games on the internet can lower your social credit score. Yes, it can. Forcing citizens onto the most dreaded rung of China's deadbeat caste system, the Laolai, if I'm pronouncing that right. And the punishments are shocking. The government algorithm will go as far as to install an embarrassing ringtone on the phones of Laolai, shaming them every time they get a call in public. Yeah, so people know by the ringtone on your phone that you are the lowest caste of society. You are the Laolai, and your privileges are limited. So how embarrassing is that when your phone rings in public? Very embarrassing, and it's meant to be. But an embarrassing ringtone, flight bans, and slow trains are just the beginning of the dystopian nightmare that is now daily life in China for tens of millions of people. A low social credit score will exclude you from well-paid jobs, make it impossible for you to get a house or a car loan, or even book a hotel room. The government will slow down your internet connection, ban your children from attending private schools, and even post your profile on a public blacklist for all to see. According to Australia's ABC News, the government has produced a deadbeat map via an app on WeChat, which shows a radar-style graphic identifying every Laolai in the vicinity of the user. Tapping on a person marked on the map reveals their personal information, including their full name, court case number, and the reason they have been labeled untrustworthy. Identity card numbers and home addresses are also partially shown, ABC reported. There are reports that those whose social credit score falls too low are preemptively arrested and sent to re-education camps. That's right, re-education camps. Not because they have actually committed a crime, but because they're likely to. Elements of the system are in place throughout China as the government refines its algorithm, and the final rollout is scheduled to be in place nationwide by 2020. The government claims that its purpose is to enhance trust and social stability by creating a culture of sincerity that will restore social trust. Well, what it will actually create, of course, is a culture of fear and a nation of informants. Yeah, much like 1984. The novel. This is because one of the ways that people can improve their own social credit score is to report on the supposed misdeeds of others. Individuals can earn points, for example, for reporting those who violate the new restrictions on religious practice, such as Christians who illegally meet to pray in private homes, or the Muslim Yigers and Kazakhs, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing those right, in China's far west, whom they spot praying in public, fasting during Ramadan, or just growing a beard. Of course, growing a beard, yes, that's right, growing a beard. It's now can lower your social score, and growing a beard, right? All right. Of course, as the state progresses even closer toward its goal of monitoring all the activities of its citizens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, society itself becomes a virtual prison. Makes you glad you're not living in China. Now, if the Democrats had their way, they'd want to institute something like that. You know they would, in a heartbeat. Western criticism of the new system has been intense, with Human Rights Watch describing it as chilling. In response, Chinese Communist Party publications scoffed that Westerners are simply too unsophisticated to understand the wonders of the new system. In the words of China's Global Times, the hypothetical theories of the West are based on their ignorance. The massive social credit system, it goes on to say, is simply beyond the understanding of Western countries. Excuse me. But I think we understand what is going on all too well. It is China's ancient totalitarian impulse, the absolute rule of the God Emperor over his subjects brought into the modern age. It is George Orwell's prophetic 1984 come alive. China's already formidable police state has been upgraded using big data, machine learning, face recognition technology, and artificial intelligence into a fearsome cyborg of state control. The Chinese Communist Party has given birth to the world's first high-tech digital dictatorship. Not content to incarcerate its own population in a virtual prison, China is busily hawking its creation to like-minded socialist dictatorships. Maduro's Venezuela was China's first customer. Yeah, that's scary, because we know that we have a segment in the population, in the U.S. population, and especially in the U.S. government, that wants socialism. So is this what comes along with it? You bet it is. You bet it is. Excuse me just one moment while I take a drink. Yes, I know Diet Coke is horrible for me, and I'm trying to quit. All right. Now, let's go back. Now, look at this. This is an interesting... Someone sent this to me, and I thought this was very interesting indeed. Vice reporters and film crews accused of breaking into bedroom in home of 8chan owner. Yeah, that's frightening. Vice correspondents Lanny Levine and Elle Reeve have been accused of breaking into a bedroom in the Philippines home of 8chan owner Jim Watkins with a camera crew. Yeah, imagine, you're in your bedroom, you're lying on your bed, and in comes, two people with a film crew. Yeah, imagine that. The accusation was made by the verified 8chan Twitter account, which said that the reporters and their crew entered Watkins' bedroom before being ordered out of the property. And this is from the 8chan channel, their official Twitter page. It says, P. Reeve with a filmmaking crew just broke and entered into Jim's bedroom and were ordered out of the property. And her producer, Lanny Levine, have now protected their tweets. The Filipino authorities have already been notified. Now, the tweet said that Watkins had notified authorities. Both Levine and Reeve have now set their Twitter accounts to private. Gee, I wonder why. And look at her Twitter account. It's got pizza all over it. I'm just saying. And a pizza in the form of a pyramid with an eye. Alrighty then. And Reeve is best known for her work in the Charlottesville documentary for Vice News. Earlier this month, Vice published an article about 8chan, referring to it as a place where races get radicalized. Sites like 8chan and others where races can get radicalized online are key to counterterrorism efforts, experts say. But in a Wednesday hearing on domestic terrorism, U.S. intel officials from the FBI, DOJ, and DHS seemed fairly unfamiliar with those platforms or what to do about them, the article read. 8chan, much like 4chan, is an anonymous image board that was the 3,857th most visited site in the world in 2018. It has gained more notoriety since the Christchurch shooting in March, as the shooter had posted a link to the live stream and his manifesto on the website. The Poway synagogue shooter had also posted a manifesto on one of the boards prior to his attack. And that is it. Vice has not responded to the allegations. Yeah. That's a little scary. And of course, you know, the fact that these false flags posted something to 8chan, don't you think that that is in an effort to get 8chan pulled down because that is where Q is communicating? Just saying. Would make sense to me. I mean, it's logical. That's what I think anyway. All right, let's go back. No, really, let's. All right, let me see. I don't know what that is. Okay. Where are we here? All right. Now, this is brand new. Like, this is very, very recent news. Potential Iran false flag as rocket falls near U.S. embassy in Iraq and explosion hits Israeli base. This is not good news. Not good news at all. A rocket lands in green zone in Iraq. Trump appears to blame Iran. Twitter, if Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran. Never threaten the United States again. And Trump did say that. I saw it on his Twitter. John Bolton heads to war room. Explosion hits military facility in Israel. Is this a false flag to foment war with Iran? YouTube newsman, the last American vagabond, on the latest below. Now, I don't know how long this is, but let's see. Oh, this is 40 minutes long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to this video in the description, in this video description below. I'm going to put a link to this video so you can watch it yourself and you can come to your own conclusion. But it's not good. Not good. I don't know what is the game plan with Iraq and Iran, and I just don't know. I don't want to go to war with anybody, to tell you the truth, because I don't think it's a good thing, but I don't know. You tell me in the comments below what you feel, how you feel about it. All right, now let's take a look at this, shall we? Well, yes, we shall. Okay, this from the Sleuth Journal. Real news without synthetics. There you go. You don't want your news with synthetics. No synthetics here. I don't even have, like, fake anything yet. Maybe when I get older. I don't know. All right. Mueller report, cover up for real crimes. If one listens to the Democrats or the mainstream media, the impression that it's being fed to the American public is that the Trump investigation will just intensify. The sacred Grand Inquisitor, Robert Mueller, once the darling of the witch hunt, is now a spineless hangman who failed to topple the king. After this tortured process of deep state cover-up, the central concocted reason for finding collusion with some imaginary Russian plot to fix the 2016 presidential election never provided the evidence to prove this establishment narrative. Pray tell, no bootlicking today would ever admit that the U.S. imperial empire ever intervened or staged subversion into foreign elections or governmental overthrows. Short memories are a hallmark of American denial. The example of overthrowing the Ukraine government of President Viktor Yanukovych and placing into power a neocon-friendly regime stands out as prime proof just who is the expert at fixing elections. How fitting that the recent landslide election victory thrust Ukrainian comedian into the limelight. Now that Biden has announced his presidential run, let him explain the circumstances of Joe Biden's son gets job with major Ukrainian natural gas company under his and Obama's watch. The Mueller report attempts to smear President Trump with ever questionable and derogatory innuendo. All the Democrats have left their deceitful campaign of character assassination. All the Democrats have left to their deceitful campaign of character assassination is to push their political noir Hollywood script to the next sequel. However, the desperate socialist villains are unable to admit that they owe Trump an apology for their false witness screenplay. However, these radical Marxists will never admit the truth. The continuous and repetitive diatribes that inaccurately passes as debate among lawyers and biased pundits has wearied the public on continuous Trump bashing. Oh, you can say that again. The special counsel report avoided the real criminal offenses of Hillary Clinton and the complicity in this concealment of real indictable charges. Mueller's team of unethical prosecutors in the mold of Andrew Weissman were committed to protect the corrupt and bipartisan establishment and careerists. Trump, no matter what you think of him, was elected by the ordinary populace to clean out the crap house of stench and disease that is the realm of the Beltway power elites. I love this person's writing. Undeniably, the Trump experience has proven just how deep and expansive the establishment is entrenched and how powerfully it exerts control over the political agencies, legislatures, and courts. The real offense of this cabal will be safeguarding the criminal syndicate so it continues its pattern of domineering rule. All the kudos over the adult who is the new Attorney General, William Barr, may be a little premature. No doubt Barr is professional, but potentially the relationship between William Barr and Robert Mueller are best friends, highlight a natural concern. Breitbart reports that Barr and Mueller are close friends, so close in fact that Mueller attended the weddings of Barr's children. In addition, their wives attended Bible study together for years and are practically best friends. It would be nice to give AG Barr some space to see just how much he is devoted to seek a thoroughgoing and complete assessment of the actual felonies committed by the gang of FBI and DOJ Clinton loyalists. However, a more immediate test will be shortly forthcoming with the DOJ Inspector General preparing to deeply undermine anti-Trump dossier authors' credibility. The Politico article cited post-Mueller report likely to target Russia dossier author Steele provides the following. Steele was hired by the opposition research firm Fusion GPS in 2016 to research Trump's Russia ties with funding from a law firm that represented the Democratic National Committee. He has become a villain to Trump allies who claim that anti-Trump Justice Department officials conspired to undo the results of the 2016 election, and conservatives have seized on Mueller's conclusion that no criminal conspiracy existed between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin as evidence that Steele's sensational dossier was a fraud. The IG Inspector General Michael Horowitz may well provide the evidence which would lead to the issuance of warrants for arrest in this massive, systemic, and coordinated operation to keep the Democrat Obama holdovers immune from prosecution. The coup to remove President Trump from office will continue through the next election, yet any honest person has the duty and responsibility to hold the long list of traitors behind the efforts to neutralize the disputer of the careerist cabal by a president that true patriots elected. Conspirators sums up the necessary measures required to restore trust in government, Mueller's probe really was a taxpayer-funded anti-Trump opposition research team hiding behind a veneer of official legitimacy. For me, the most troubling part of this entire saga is that the Democrats, who undermined the legitimacy of our democracy and the public's faith in our institutions in order to push their conspiracy theory, almost got what they were really after. This was never about achieving justice for Russian election interference or obstruction of justice. It wasn't about uncovering a grand Trump-Russia conspiracy that I doubt most Democratic politicians ever actually believed in. It was solely about weakening the president politically, whatever means necessary. Robert Mueller is a cover-up artist, and his entire public life in the service of the power elite and spent his entire public life in the service of the power elite. At this point, since Americans can hope that AG William Barr can overcome his personal friendship and vigorously bring up charges against Mueller for his own culpability in the push plot, until the long list of FBI and DOJ senior officials become defendants for their own crimes, the law enforcement hoax will continue to get away with murder. Seth Rich, in brackets, until Hillary Clinton is exposed as an untouchable asset of the tyrannous intelligence community, the imperious shadow government will dictate their totalitarian collectivism upon our country. And until the American public wakes up from its slumber, the most evil factions will continue destroying our nation. Now, I fully agree with what they're saying here. I fully agree with it. I did not realize that Barr and Mueller were friends and that their wives are best friends. I didn't realize that. That is a little bit worrisome to me, if I have to tell the truth, and I will. What do you guys think about that? How do you feel about that? Do you think that he's able to put that aside and allow justice to be done? It seems as if he can, to me, from what I've seen from him so far, but we can never really know what's in the back of his mind. So I don't know. And just because they were friends before doesn't mean that they're friends now. I don't know. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that, because I would be really curious to know. Now let's go back and let's look at this. This is a little bit disconcerting as well. Now, thought crimes, facial recognition technology is invading the U.S. San Francisco passes historic privacy bill. Man arrested in UK for hiding face. Yeah, hiding your face can get you arrested. You can't run, you can't hide. Facial recognition technology is advancing at a quickening pace. It's becoming more widespread and accurate, and we're entering the path of no return. A report from Georgetown researcher states that the agencies in Chicago and Detroit have brought real-time facial recognition systems. Meanwhile, a privacy bill failed to pass in San Francisco. Elsewhere in the UK, an unidentified man was arrested for hiding his face from facial recognition technology and was gifted an insane disorderly behavior fee of £90. According to the Georgetown researcher, software from a South Carolina company, DataWorks Plus, called FaceWatch Plus, provides continuous screening and monitoring of live video streams and is being used by Chicago and Detroit police departments. Both police departments claim it has not used its system. However, Chicago previously introduced an Orwellian program in the Chicago Police Department that targets innocent citizens based on pre-crimes. Similar to dystopian films like Minority Report, a complex computer algorithm was being tested silently for 3 years prior from 2016. The program was set up to track and catalog every citizen in the city and use private data about each person to determine whether or not they could be a potential criminal, as Free Thought Project reported previously. Wired further noted that Chicago's adoption of Face Watch Plus goes back to at least 2016, the report says. According to the description of the program found in DataWorks Plus pitch to Detroit, the project objective involved tapping into Chicago's 20,000 street and transit cameras. Chicago police told the researchers the system was never turned on. And you believe that? I don't. I don't believe that. Why would they buy a system and then not turn it on? Does that make sense to anybody? No. Illinois is one of only 3 states with biometric identify laws that require consent from people before companies collect biometric markers like fingerprints and face data, but public agencies are exempted. In addition, government agents in Chicago previously visited more than 1,300 innocent people who had high numbers of its pre-crime list to inform them that they are now regarded as potential criminals. According to the New York Times, Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson previously said that officials were stepping up those visits at the time with at least 1,000 more people. Tell me how this is. I mean, it is a little bit different than what China's doing, but it's along the same lines. You're then marked as, oh, well, you're somebody that's, likely to commit a crime. But I haven't done anything. No, but you're gonna. We are targeting the correct individuals. We just need our judicial partners and our state legislators to hold these people accountable, Johnson insisted. That's a horrifying quote that essentially says, trust us. We are the authority. We know what's good for you. Hear no evil, see no evil. See something, say something. We have your best interest in mind. We promise. We just want to protect you. So the notion that Chicago hasn't used another system is unlikely. Yeah, really, it's really unlikely, because if you buy a system like that, which has got to be an ungodly sum, you're going to use it. People don't generally buy things they're not going to use. Just saying. If they do, they're probably mentally ill. Really, you don't buy something you're not going to use. You can buy things that you hope you're not going to have to use, like smoke detectors and stuff. I hope I don't ever have to use my smoke detectors. I hope they never have to go off, but they're there, but that's something different. All right. Blind trust of government or any other authoritative figure is never a good thing, despite what the mainstream media or education system will preach. ACLU Illinois pointed out that innocent people are being flagged based on criteria that hasn't even been publicly established by an oversight committee. In other words, they're making up their own rules. Karen Sheely, the director of the Police Practices Project of the American Civil Liberties Union of Illinois, highlighted that the entire reason why there should be concern about law enforcement running this previous program and the current program without oversight from the public. We're concerned about this. There's a database of citizens built on unknown factors, and there's no way for people to challenge being on the list. How do you get on the list in the first place? We think it's dangerous to single out somebody based on secret police information. Well, duh. Elsewhere in the U.S., in San Francisco, a historic privacy bill passed when the San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted 8-1 to become the first major city in the United States to ban government use of face surveillance technology in all departments, EFF reported. It's encouraging to see San Francisco take this proactive step in anticipating the surveillance problems on the horizon and heading them off in advance. This is far easier than trying to put the proverbial genie back in the bottle after it causes harm, Nathan Shared, EFF's grassroots advocacy organizer, wrote. On the other side of the sphere, in UK, police just made several arrests, including issuing a £90 fine for disorderly behavior after a man tried to cover his face from controversy. Oh, no. He's back. He's back, and he's wanting to chew. Excuse me while I do a little kitty intervention here. Get down, get down. Okay, well, he wasn't too happy about that. Of course, he'll just jump right back up. On the other side of the sphere, so they had several arrests, including issuing a £90 fine for disorderly behavior after a man tried to cover his face from controversial facial recognition cameras being deployed in the UK that have a failure rate of 96%. That's right, 96%. So in only 4% of the cases are they ever correct. Man's hiding his face from them, and he's arrested. Yeah, lovely. Police also arrested 3 other people during the day, thanks to technology, according to BBC. I think that is where I'm going to end, because this goes on for a very long time. But I did want to bring that to you because, you know, we can point at China and say, oh, that's terrible, but it's creeping in everywhere. It really is. Okay, we're not in a social credit system yet, but that is pretty alarming when, you know, you can be put on in a database of people that are on a watch list or whatever. You're never told about what the criteria was. You're never told how you got on the list, and you're not told how to get off of the list. And you're really essentially treated as guilty, and you haven't done anything. But they would say, as in the Minority Report, if you've ever seen that movie, it is chilling to say the least. You know, it's like, no, I haven't committed a crime. I know, but you're gonna. Unbelievable. And yet, so believable. All right, let's go back. Time is a ticking here, isn't it? See, I wasted a lot of time with my cat here, just kind of wreaking havoc. He wreaks havoc, but I loved him. All right, Democrats in 1860 on slavery. Black people are subhuman. Slavery is a states' rights issue. If you don't own a plantation, you have no business telling plantation owners they can't own humans. We will fight viciously to protect our right to own other humans. Democrats in 2019 on abortion. Children in the womb are subhuman. Abortion is a woman's rights issue. If you don't have a womb, you have no business telling women they can't kill unborn children. We will fight viciously to protect our right to kill unborn humans. Isn't that the truth? It is. All right, and this to Candace Owens. Again, I have a great deal of respect for this young lady. She said, special shout out to the millions of people in the world that have either been adopted or gone through the foster care system. Must have been a tough week watching liberals tell you that your life is worthless and that you should have been murdered. Not true. Well, I know what she's saying this in response to, because Terrence Williams, I don't know if you know him, but another impressive young man and very funny. And his mother had, I think he said his mother had 6 children, could not take care of them. His mother had a substance abuse problem, and he went through the foster care system, and basically people were saying very, very cruel things to him, extremely cruel things, like, you know, you should have been aborted, basically. And it's horrific. And apparently he's not the only one that people have been saying that to. So, and he said that he had a good experience in the social care, in the foster care system. I know that's not always the case. I mean, we're all quite aware of that. But to say that it would have been better for you to die than to end up in foster care, I think that that's going way too far. And I think it's very cruel. Very cruel. All right. And let's see here. We're getting on in time. I've got one more here, but I really don't want to end on this. So I'm not going to read it all because it's really disturbing. Illegal alien convicted of raping dog to death, released by sanctuary state. Yeah. This after the story yesterday about the Texan man that had killed 11 women, possibly more, and he was an illegal alien as well, because these people aren't being vetted. They're not being vetted. They're walking over. Unbelievable. Anyway, an illegal alien convicted of raping a dog to death was released by the sanctuary state of Oregon after being sentenced to just 60 days in prison. You know, if he's going to do that to a dog, he's going to do it to a human being. I mean, it's just a proven fact that people that abuse animals abuse people too. It's just a progression, and it always escalates. I mean, it's unbelievable. His name is Fidel Lopez, 52 years old, was convicted last month and sentenced to 60 days in prison after raping his girlfriend, Small Lasso Apso, which led to the dog's death. The judge in the case said he would have given the illegal alien more prison time, but that 60 days is the maximum sentence allowed in Oregon. Following his sentence, Lopez was immediately released because he had already served 60 days while waiting to stand trial, despite his illegal alien status. Multnomah County, Oregon officials released Lopez back into the community. So if you are in that area, just be aware that this guy is on the loose. He's out and running about, and he looks like, I mean, my gosh, did his girlfriend not have any idea that this man was like, well, we haven't seen the girlfriend, so that could answer everything right there, but unbelievable. I don't know. It's the stuff that's getting in the news now. It's almost embarrassing to even read it. Seriously. And it makes me feel ill, really ill, because I can't imagine ever hurting another human being. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. We all hurt people at times with our words or our actions, but I would never knowingly hurt another person. Especially not an animal or a child or an elderly person. I mean, really nobody, but you know, to hurt the most vulnerable among us, there's something really broken in you. Has to be. I just can't explain it other than saying that person is just pure evil. But anyway, I wish I could have ended on a nicer note, but I'm sorry. I'll try harder next time to find some good news. I just couldn't find any. But anyway, that is it for tonight. Now, tomorrow is a holiday here. It's Victoria Day. And I don't know whether I will be posting tomorrow. I may, and I may not, because I'm hoping to go out with some friends, and we're going to catch the fireworks and so forth. But if I'm able to, I will post, but I don't want you to be looking for my post and me not post. So I just wanted to give you a heads up there. It might be there tomorrow. I might post, and I might not. So there you go. But if I don't post tomorrow, I will definitely be posting on Tuesday, and I'll try to do 2 videos on Tuesday to make up for it if I don't post tomorrow. So there you go. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. Like, seriously, it's so nice when I get new people. Yesterday, I guess it was, somebody said that they were new to the channel, and it's like everyone is so nice and welcoming and everything. And I think, my gosh, these people are like the nicest people on the internet, really, because I go to some channels and they're like digging each other's eyes out, really. So you guys are the greatest. You always encourage each other, and you encourage me by your comments. So thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you all, and you have a great night. Stay safe, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth, because you and I both know that deception bites. Good night.